Don't go away. WAD TV will be right back. And remember, all white, all the time.
Hi, my name is Julie Flackenstein. A couple weeks ago, I had the privilege of hearing a new and exciting band called Armistice. And afterwards, I had a sort of close-up and personal interview with them. So, let's watch.
Sweet Orchard Souls, YTV presents Armistice.
right, people, listen up. We're going to do the next chord 4 times. And what's going to happen is I'm going to sing one, and you're going to sing one, you're going to answer me back. Ready? It's 4 times, all right? We got to be real loud, because remember, it's going to be on television. And I want to see all your smiling faces. 4 times, Rob, that's right.
This just in. My head has disintegrated.
I'm here interviewing Armistice. Can you please introduce yourselves again?
Tom plays the lead guitar. Tony Rivera.
I'm Ben Cook, backup vocals.
I'm Kim McMillan, bass.
Ben Janiska, drums, cymbals.
Why did you call the group Armistice?
It
Actually,
seemed like a good idea at the time.
actually, the name came from our old rhythm guitarist who's no longer with us. It was his idea to name the band that, so it just kind of stuck, so we went with it.
What does this mean?
Armistice is a military term, meaning ceasefire.
Oh,
Go, Mr. Gold.
thank you for telling
Oh,
me.
you're very welcome. Not many people.
And it looks cool on our shirts.
Yeah, it loo's cool. See, we don't have our shirts on today, but it looks really nice.
It's very important. It's like Kollar.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. How did you guys get together?
Well,
That's a long story.
These three go to school together.
see what happened is Kim was in a band, first of all.
Yes,
Kim was in a band with another guitarist and another drummer. And then he joined to sing. And then their drummer decided he wanted to do something else.
Yes, 2 weeks
So they
before our
asked,
show.
so they asked me to play.
So we got
Which
Ben.
was a better choice?
Yes, and then Ben came in. He started playing keyboards because we needed him on a couple things. And the old band broke up, and we needed another guitarist, and that's how we got this guy.
Okay. Do you write your own songs? Like, do any of you write
We're working
songs
on
or
it.
anything?
Did we do that one?
No, we just did all
Be
covers.
sure to catch our album released in Tokyo next year.
We're working on some, but we didn't have time.
We've had a lot of problems. Number one, losing a rhythm guitarist. Things have been really iffy in this band. I really didn't think when I started that I was... Okay! Jeez! I really didn't think when this band was started, you know, when I came in, it was really iffy, you know, because I've been in a couple bands before, and today there's not... Good musicians today are hard to find. Quit touching my head. They're hard to find, and I'm surprised, you know, we've had a lot of problems, and we're still together now, and we plan to write a lot of songs together.
Will you ever sing any of them? Like, when you're like in concert?
Oh yeah. We were gonna do one today, but we couldn't get it solid enough to do, so we decided to do it.
Music is cool, but our lead vocalist is a very good lyricist as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. What point are you trying to get across in your music? Like,
We have...
This is my point. This is all I want people to do. When they see us in concert, I just want them to have a good time because there's enough problems in the world already, and
just want people to go in, sit down for like about an hour, listen to some music, have fun, and then forget their problems.
P.S. It's loud.
Very loud.
Yes.
I like their
I
music
can't
to
hear
have fun. Fun music is good, but a lot of times when I get down to write a song, usually it's like late at night, like 3 in the morning, and I just start jamming, you know, and something will come. And I usually just write about things, you know, that are happening in my life. Like 2 of the songs we've written have reflected 2 of my greatest emotions, I would say. One of them sitting right there. There's a lot of things that I feel strong about, and it comes out in my playing. I think a personality of a guitarist comes out in the way he plays, and you know, that's how I write my songs. It's just the way I feel.
Is that where you lay on the floor and play, Tom?
Well, you know, you gotta have something.
What inspires you to play music?
It's fun.
It's fun, it's loud, and
We're pretty good at it.
yeah, we're decent.
It's an outlet for
you know what?
excitement.
It really drives girls' parents nuts, you know, because they don't want their daughters going out with guys.
Excuse me,
Especially camp. Especially with Kim.
Am I not in this band either?
You're just the choir.
Kim's the quiet one.
So Kim is our bass player. She's cool though.
She's cool. Me?
We like her even though she's a
Someone who
girl.
thought there was a monkey in the
Yeah,
band.
she's a girl.
I'll take you on. I think your idols are.
I only got one. You get a shot of this right there?
Jesus, right? Woo!
Oh, yeah, like him again, I guess you could say that, but my biggest musical influence has to be CC DeVille. I just think, excuse me.
There's a bug.
Although you could see a lot of my style, I guess, and his style combined. I won't say that I'm basically all like based after him, but I like his personality because it really reflects, you know, the way I am also. I like to play like wild and crazy, but like I said, the personality of a guitarist is shown through his playing, and I just took a real liking to it, and I think he's an absolutely good guitarist.
Here tonight. Thank you, Armistice.
Bye!
Hi, my name is Bridgett Shriane, and I'm speaking to you today about World Youth Day 1993 that took place in Denver, Colorado on August 11th to August 15th. I went with this program through St. Denis Parish in Versailles, Pennsylvania. Every area in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and everywhere in the United States was represented, as well as other youth from other nations, including Canada, Mexico, Spain, Japan, Croatia. Almost everywhere in the world had one youth represented. This was truly an international gathering of youth.
Good evening and welcome to YTV. I'm your host, Nicole Blank. This evening we'll be speaking with Miss Mary Liz Pack, a registered psychiatric nurse who works with patients suffering from various types of abuses, ranging from physical to emotional to psychological and sexual. Miss Mary Liz Pack, thank you for being here with us tonight.
Nicole, thank you for inviting me here. Please call me Mary Liz. I'd like to tell you, and I'd like to tell you also, the viewers, about a big problem, and it's the problem of abuse. Psychological, emotional, sexual, any type of abuse you can think of. The numbers are scary. Right now, 1 in 3 people has been abused in some way. If you're in a group of friends, say 30 of you, look around you. 1 out of every 3 people there has been abused in some way. So you're talking 10 people out of the 30 people. It's a very serious problem and a problem that needs addressing. Through this presentation, if we can reach at least one person, and one person can go for help because of us, we will have accomplished something. I think Nicole has some questions for me at this time.
Thank you. Your job title was properly introduced to us as a psychiatric nurse. Now, what exactly does that mean?
A psychiatric nurse is a registered nurse who has determined that through her career she wants to specialize in the field of psychiatrics. I've been a nurse since 1979. At present, I work for a mental health clinic outside the hospital. To be a psychiatric nurse rather than a general nurse in a hospital, you need to take some specialized training, to work on a psychiatric unit for some time and get some training, and to have a working knowledge of the mind and the mind-body connection.
So instead of being a regular nurse and specializing in a person's body or anatomy, you decided to specialize in the mind.
Yes, I did.
Now, the new numbers out are very scary, and it seems that every day more and more people are reporting being abused. Now, I don't know whether that's because more and more people are feeling comfortable about coming out with this, or whether it's just more and more people are having problems with it. Does that ever make you feel like you're fighting a never-ending battle?
Sometimes I feel like I'm fighting a tidal wave that isn't stopping, and I'm holding up a strainer to catch it. To be realistic, we don't know why the incidence of reporting is increasing. Partly it's due to people feeling more comfortable telling their secrets. The other part has to do with, and this is only a theory, the fact that as someone is abused, the potential for them to abuse increases. Not that they always will, but the potential is there. So if one perpetrator abuses 10 people, there's 10 chances of someone going out and abusing. So it's kind of like throwing a rock into a pool and the ripples spread.
It's scary, I have to say. Is there a specific age bracket that you can tell us in which abuse takes place, or more or less more abuse cases are being reported?
Physical abuse and emotional abuse can happen at any age. We're not just talking about children. A child can emotionally abuse his elderly parent. Abuse can happen from the age of 6 months or younger to the age of 90 or 100. As far as sexual abuse, the incidence of it happening is early childhood, for the fact that perpetrators don't want to abuse someone who's going to tell. The thing that they want to do is get away with it. They want to abuse someone, they want to meet their own needs, but they don't want to get caught. They will come in and abuse a teenager or manipulate them into doing something, but as the child ages, the risk of getting caught increases. So if I had to guess, I would say most children are abused sexually at a younger age. Physically abused, it can vary, because physical abuse is not usually a pre-planned thing. It's usually a person getting very stressed out and then striking out at their child.
Now, you said 6 months. I mean, who would want to abuse a baby?
There have been instances of people being sexually abused or physically abused at birth. You know, a mother is very stressed out. She can't handle the fact that her child is crying and crying and crying, and she picks him up and throws him across the room. Or, you know, picks the bottle up and throws the bottle at him. It's not uncommon.
So most of the time, the abuse for the younger infants is more or less physical abuse.
It can be a mixture of everything. Usually it's not psychological abuse, because at that age the infant really doesn't have the reasoning to be psychologically abused.
And you said most of the people get away with it.
Yes.
That's horrible. I mean, what can we do? Why does that happen?
Okay, the why it happens is that abuse, and especially sexual abuse, is not a use of violence. Oftentimes it's a use of manipulation, a use of authority. A child does not have the ability to reason out that it would be better to be reported to my parents than to be abused. It's not reported because in some way the child is made to feel it's his or her fault. If you weren't such a bad girl, if you weren't such a bad boy, this wouldn't have happened to you. The one thing that I want to stress to you, Nicole, and to you out there, any child who's going through any type of abuse at this time, it is not your fault. Nothing that you have done caused this. Nothing that you will ever do caused it. It's not because you ran around without your clothes on. It's not because you forgot to come home for dinner one night. It is nothing that you have done. The problem lies with the perpetrator, not with you.
I think that's going to be kind of hard for them to believe that it's not them, it's the perpetrator. Mm-hmm. Are there any specific signs to look for?
For someone that has been abused, mainly you would see someone who's very depressed, someone who's having mood swings, someone who's very angry and having outbursts. If I had to pick one symptom that I would say really went along with abuse, it would be self-image, an extremely low self-image. Being abused in any way destroys your self-image. It makes you feel like nothing, like a piece of dirt.
Right. But still, there's a lot of people out there that aren't being abused. Do these signs say that, of course, this person is being abused if this happens?
No, it doesn't. It's just something to pick up on. When you've worked with people who've been abused for some time, it's very easy to pick up on a lot of clues as to what's going on. Some of the things that I look for when someone comes into my office is a low self-esteem that no matter what accomplishment they've had just doesn't go up. A depression that's ongoing and nothing seems to help. No antidepressant, no therapy. Self-mutilating behavior. People cut themselves. People will scratch themselves with erasers. Chronic suicidal acts. Chronic anxiety. Chronic anger. Isolation. Problems with trust. No matter how someone cares about you, the person who's been abused tends to test that person. If you really loved me, you would do this. If you really loved me, you would do that. They can have problems with, of course, if you've been sexually abused, you can have sexual problems. That doesn't always mean that you can't have sex. It may mean that you want to have sex with everyone to try to prove that you're okay. Problems with sexual identity. Am I gay? Am I not gay? Am I straight? They can have problems dealing with the day-to-day crisis that pop up. One of the big issues is control. They feel as though they need to control every aspect of their life.
Now, Mary Liz, are there an outstanding number of suicidal attacks or people that want to commit suicide in abuse cases?
Usually when people try to kill themselves, it's an act of desperation. They're not trying to kill themselves. They just want to end the pain that they're in right at that minute. If you gave them the choice of being pain-free and feeling good about themselves or dying, they would usually choose being pain-free and feeling good about themselves.
Well, the younger children that are abused, they even think about suicide, say 4, 5, 6-year-olds?
Okay, without getting into any big psychological explanations, 4, 5, and 6-year-olds or younger children oftentimes suppress the fact that they have been abused and they don't remember it. Then something happens called a trigger. A trigger is a reminder, something that all of a sudden I feel yucky, okay? You know, I felt okay and I went out on my first date and this guy put his arm around me and I felt yucky. I didn't feel good, I felt bad. They may then start to have flashbacks and remember what had happened to them. They might have nightmares. They might think they're going crazy because they don't know what's going on. So oftentimes young children will put a shell around what happened and they really won't be able to remember or tell you about it. If someone is, and this is very possible while this program is going on, that someone is remembering. If you are remembering that you have been abused, please do something about it. Please call someone and tell someone.
Now, what you're saying is a lot of the children totally forget what happened to them?
Yes.
To me that sounds strange. How can they just totally block that out of their lives?
It's kind of like going down the road and seeing a bad accident, okay? When you go to tell your friends about the bad accident, you might say, hey, you know, there's this really bad accident down the street. Yeah, blood all over the place. You can talk about it without the emotional content. Our minds have the ability to shut off what we experience. We experience things through all of our senses, through our minds, and through what we think is going on. Our body can shut off one or all of those procedures.
I'd like to talk about some of the long-range effects for each type of abuse. Is it different for every type of abuse, or is it the same?
No, it's pretty much the same. Sometimes people who've been sexually abused have worse feelings than the people who've been physically or psychologically abused, but then it's completely dependent on how that person reacts. A lot of psychotherapists get caught up into the fact of, well, they didn't really do anything that bad to you, so you shouldn't respond that badly. But that has nothing to do with it. How you respond is purely a personal reaction. I would say the things that I talked about before. You feel terrible and you don't know why. No matter what goes on in your life, even if it's good, you just don't feel good about it. You are unable to trust people. You can't let people close. You feel isolated even in a crowd. People feel very odd. They feel different. They feel like if anybody really got to know me, they wouldn't like me. They feel inferior. They feel angry and they don't know why. They feel jealous of other people and their feelings and their happiness. The long-range effects are devastating.
So you're saying that each person has a different reaction to the abuse?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've heard many, many times that if a person is abused as a child, it's possible that they can go on as an adult to abuse again and again and again. Is it something like a hereditary?
No, it's possible. The terminology is a little complicated, but what it means is trying to figure out something by going out and doing it. Trying to figure out what the big deal was by going out and doing it. There are a percentage of people who have been abused that abuse, but there are also a percentage of people who say, this happened to me, it was very painful, and I will not allow it to happen to someone else.
Okay, this is a very, very serious subject. It's very traumatic for a lot of people to realize what's happening to them and to realize what's going on, and I do realize that. Mary Liz, is there any number or any address or place that I can give to the viewers to call if, for instance, they've just had a trigger, or if they know that this is happening and they just want it to stop?
Mm-hmm. What I can say to you, if you are being abused at this time or even think that you have been abused in the past, call Children and Youth Services. There's a local chapter in just about every neighborhood, and there is also a main number in Pittsburgh. They have a hotline. They will come and interview you without your perpetrator being aware of it. It can be kept a secret until you allow it to be let out. But please, if I can stress to you anything, tell someone. If that person doesn't believe you, tell someone else. Keep telling until someone does believe you and helps you.
Now, as Mary Liz said, the perpetrator or the person who's doing this to you will try to make you believe that this is your fault, but it's not. And we want you to realize that it's really not your fault, and it's okay to tell someone. You're not the only person out there that this is happening to. There are many, many other people that know what you're going through. Now, Mary Liz, I really appreciate you being here tonight to talk to all of our viewers out there. I know that there's a few people that we got through to, and that really does make me feel good. And I wish you all the luck with your new project, and I hope that you can come back and visit us again.
Thank you. I would really enjoy that.
Okay. That's all for this evening. We'll see you again next time.
Stadler?
Yeah, what?
Is that it?
Yes, it's over. How'd you like it?
I don't know. I slept through the whole thing.
Well, you didn't miss much.
This program is produced in cooperation with American Cablevision.
welcome to YTV. Our subject for today is